I didn't plan to become financially invisible. It happened quietly, the way control often does. After our first child was born, my husband decided I didn't need a job anymore. He said it was for the family, for stability, for the kids. What he meant was that I would depend on him completely. By the time our second child was old enough to talk, I already knew something was wrong. The anger had a rhythm, the insults came daily, the apologies never lasted. When I discovered his affair, the situation escalated from words to fear. The moment he raised his hand toward our oldest child, I ended the marriage. That decision didn't free me. It triggered a different kind of battle. I had no savings, no childcare, no relatives willing or able to help. When I asked him for money to support the children, he refused. He told me the court hadn't ordered him to give me anything. He froze my accounts by lying to the bank. When I filed paperwork during the divorce, he retaliated with violence. Months passed before a judge stepped in. Child and spousal support were ordered. He ignored it until his wages were garnished. By then, he owed thousands in arrears. That unpaid balance became my leverage to leave the state and rebuild somewhere safer. I remarried a year later. Before doing anything official, I read every court document myself. I noticed a clause that would have ended spousal support upon remarriage if it had been selected. It wasn't. So I made a choice. Instead of pursuing his retirement account, I accepted 1 year of spousal support and walked away from the rest. I treated it like a settlement no one had written down. It felt fair, quiet, final. He disagreed. Years later, without warning, he filed for sole custody. That was how he discovered I had remarried. That was when he realized he had paid support during my first year of marriage. I explained the trade I had made, 1 year of support in exchange for leaving his retirement untouched. He demanded repayment. The court ordered it, but structured the repayment through increased child support. The numbers canceled themselves out. He gained nothing. I lost nothing. His custody request vanished in exchange for extra summer time. That should have been the end. Instead, I filed for the retirement account. What followed was 4 years of delays, refusals, and contempt filings. The court sanctioned him. Additional payments were ordered. His non-compliance became expensive. When he proposed to someone new, the account was finally divided. I didn't expect the amount. I had assumed it would roughly match what I had already taken. It didn't. It was several times more. The irony didn't escape me. Had he left things alone, none of it would have happened. His fiancée eventually contacted me. She blamed me for the engagement stalling. She accused me of theft. I reminded her that he had been given a choice. I suggested a prenuptial agreement if asset protection mattered to them. She told me she shouldn't have to protect herself because I had already taken enough. I never asked to be dependent. I never asked for revenge. I asked for support for our children. The court gave him exactly what he requested: clear orders, clear consequences. He refused every chance to resolve it quietly. I didn't take his future. I stopped sacrificing mine. That wasn't the only time someone forced me to choose between peace and consequences.
Someone kept stealing my lunch. For months, my lunches kept disappearing. Not once or twice, not by accident. Every few days, I would open the break room fridge and find my bag lighter than it should have been. Sometimes the container was gone. Sometimes it was returned, empty and rinsed, like an insult wrapped in politeness. I followed procedure. I documented dates. I filed reports. Human resources listened politely and did nothing. Each time I was told they needed a pattern. Each time I was told they couldn't act without proof. Meanwhile, I kept spending my lunch breaks buying food I had already prepared and paid for. The frustration built quietly. At my annual checkup, I mentioned it in passing, not as a plan, not as a complaint, just exhaustion. My doctor asked a routine question about digestion, then paused longer than usual when I answered. He smiled. He prescribed something strong, very strong. He explained what it was for, how it worked, and how it should be taken. One line in particular stood out. Mix with food. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. The next week, I packed lunch as usual. Same bag, same fridge, same routine. I followed the prescription exactly as written. By mid-afternoon, I filed another report. My lunch was missing again, and so was my medication. That changed the tone immediately. HR asked clarifying questions. I answered calmly. Yes, the medication had been in the lunch bag. Yes, it was prescribed. Yes, it was required for a medical condition. Yes, it had been prepared according to my doctor's instructions. The color drained from their faces. Stealing food was one thing. Stealing prescription medication was another. Security was notified, then the police. It didn't take long to find the culprit. A supervisor from another department had been escorted out of the building after becoming violently ill. He was loud, angry, humiliated. He accused me of poisoning him. I asked one question. When did you decide my lunch was yours? I added that I no longer had access to medication I had been prescribed for my health. That detail mattered. The accusation stopped. A lawyer was requested. After that, everything happened without me. Charges were filed, fines were issued, community service followed. The supervisor's position opened unexpectedly and was filled by someone else not long after. No one ever stole my lunch again. I kept packing the same meals. I kept using the same fridge. And for the first time in months, I ate in peace.